Have you ever fallen for someone so deeply, only to realize later that you were in love with an illusion? That you mistook noise for wisdom, drama for passion, and immaturity for authenticity? Before you think this is just about blaming or labeling women, take a breath. This isn't about hate. This is about awareness. This is about truth. And more than anything, this is about saving yourself from pain. Pain that Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, warned about centuries ago. If you've ever been confused by a woman's behavior, if you found yourself questioning your sanity in a relationship, wondering how love turned into chaos, or why you feel emptier with someone who was supposed to make your life fuller, then this video is for you. Stick with me until the end, because what you're about to discover could literally save your emotional, spiritual, and financial life. If you're serious about evolving in love and relationships, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and stay till the final point. Because the last sign may be the most dangerous of all. The Stoic lens, Marcus Aurelius and the modern woman. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In love, the obstacle is often not the woman, but your ignorance of what she truly is. When a man cannot recognize foolishness cloaked in beauty, charm, or seductive words, he sets himself up for failure. Stoicism isn't about being cold or heartless. It's about seeing clearly, living with virtue, and mastering the self, and that includes the way you choose your partner. So here are 7 signs, distilled through the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius and the Stoics, that reveal you're dealing with a stupid woman, and what that really means. 1. She mistakes attention for worth. Do you remember the first time you truly fell in love? Close your eyes for a second. What was she like? Was it the way she laughed? The way she looked at you like you were the only man in the room? Or maybe it was the way she touched your arm, when you spoke like your words mattered more than anything else in the world? Now let me ask you something else. Was it real? Or was it just attention? Because there's a difference, brother. A big one. You see, a lot of us fall in love with a woman's attention, not her soul. We mistake her flirty texts, her frequent selfies, and her compliments for something deeper. We think she's really into me. This is different. But here's what Marcus Aurelius would remind us centuries before dating apps and social media ever existed. What is praised too often is often hollow. A woman who lives for attention is not necessarily a bad person, but she may not know her own worth. And if she doesn't know hers, how can she possibly see yours? Let me tell you a short story. Maybe you've lived this one too. There was a guy not unlike you. Smart, driven, maybe even a little lonely. One day he meets her, let's call her Lena. Lena lights up the room. Her phone is always blowing up. Likes, messages, hearts. But when she talks to him, she locks eyes like he's the only one that exists. He's hooked. He starts texting her first, complimenting her more, giving more than he's getting. But he doesn't see it. Why? Because he's drunk on her attention. He thinks he's in love, but really he's addicted. Weeks pass, then months. He realizes she needs constant validation. She posts pictures with other guys but claims it's nothing. She gets angry when he doesn't respond fast enough, but brushes off his needs, like he's being too emotional. Suddenly he feels like a background character in her life story. Sound familiar? You see, the foolish woman confuses being seen for being valued. She builds her identity on likes, not virtues. She believes the more eyes on her, the more worthy she becomes. But attention is fleeting. It's like sugar. It tastes good in the moment, but leaves you empty. And if your love is based on being the flavor of the week, what happens when someone shinier comes along? This isn't about judgment, it's about clarity. So let me ask you again. Was your last relationship about connection or attention? Was she feeding your soul or just your ego? Marcus Aurelius said, "You are what you think. You become what you give attention to. So give your attention to something real, someone real, not someone who needs a spotlight to feel alive. Because love isn't loud. It's deep. It's steady. It's quiet, and that kind of love is rare. Now stay with me. Because the next sign will show you how emotional chaos disguises itself as passion. Don't go anywhere. This could be your turning point. 2. She lives in emotional extremes. Have you ever loved someone who made you feel like a king one day, and like a ghost the next? One moment you're everything to her. She's texting you nonstop, telling you how she's never felt this way before, calling you her person you feel chosen, but the very next moment, she goes cold, withdrawn, angry over something small, silent for hours or days. You're left spinning, wondering, what did I do wrong? Sound familiar? If you've been in a relationship where the emotional temperature changes every day, you've felt the storm of a woman who lives in emotional extremes. And brother, that storm is not passion, it's poison. Let me take you into a story, maybe it's yours, or maybe it's one you're trying to forget. There was a man, let's call him Karen. Karen met a woman named Aisha. She was electric, the kind of woman who made him feel alive in ways he'd never experienced. Her energy lit up every room. Her laugh was addictive. Her affection? Intense. In the beginning, it was like a movie. They stayed up till 3 a.m. talking about dreams, sharing childhood stories. Making love like the world was ending. She told him she'd never felt so seen, so understood. He thought maybe this is it. Maybe she's the one. But then came the flip. The day he was 10 minutes late to her place, she accused him of not caring. When he didn't respond to her texts fast enough, she said he was acting distant. When he disagreed with her about something small, she called him toxic. Karen started questioning himself. He began apologizing even when he wasn't wrong. He became hyper-aware of his words, afraid of triggering her. He stopped seeing his friends, stopped working out, stopped smiling like he used to. He wasn't in a relationship anymore. He was surviving a roller coaster, and yet he stayed. Why? Because those highs were so intoxicating, he convinced himself they were love. But deep down, he knew the truth. He was addicted to her chaos. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." A woman who lives in emotional extremes has no power over herself. And eventually, she'll rob you of your peace, your stability, your sense of self, because she doesn't know who she is either. So ask yourself, did she love you? Or did she need a mirror to reflect her brokenness? Did she support your growth, or punish you for being different? A wise woman brings calm. A foolish woman brings confusion. And the tragic part? Most men mistake the confusion for passion. They think the chaos is proof that it's real. But real love doesn't drain you. It builds you. If you've been riding emotional waves like Karen did, maybe it's time to step off the ride. Because the longer you stay in her storm, the more you forget what the sun even feels like. 3. She avoids responsibility and blames everyone else. Have you ever loved someone who made you feel guilty for their mistakes? Think back. Close your eyes if you need to. Was there ever a time in your past relationship where everything felt like your fault? She was late? Your fault. She forgot something important? Somehow still your fault. She hurt you, but when you told her, you were too sensitive. Sound familiar? Let me share a story. And maybe, just maybe, it's your story too. There was a guy named Arav. He met a woman named Naina. She was beautiful, sharp, confident. She had this magnetic pull, like gravity. When she smiled, it felt like the world paused. But early on, there were cracks. She told him stories of her past. My ex was abusive. My parents never supported me. My friends always let me down. At first, Arav felt protective. He thought, she's just been hurt. She needs love. I'll be different. And so he gave everything. His time, his money, his energy. He forgave her moods, her outbursts, her cold silences because he believed she just needed healing. But slowly things got darker. Whenever there was an argument, she twisted it. If he tried to explain how he felt, she'd say he was blaming her. If he caught her lying, she'd say he was too controlling. When she messed up, she'd dig up something from his past and use it as a shield. And Arav? He began to doubt his own mind. He started saying sorry just to keep the peace. He stopped expressing his feelings. He lost himself while trying to love someone who refused to look at her own reflection. And that is the mark of the foolish woman Marcus Aurelius warned us about. Marcus wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to learn, to grow." But she doesn't grow, because growth requires responsibility. The foolish woman avoids the mirror. She hides behind stories, blame, and drama. She's the victim in every chapter of her life. And anyone who disagrees becomes the villain. But here's the painful truth. If she's always the victim, you will always be the enemy. Now let me ask you, did she ever take ownership for the pain she caused? Did she ever say, "I was wrong," without turning it around on you? Or did she weaponize her pain to avoid responsibility? See, a wise woman learns. A foolish one deflects. And no matter how much love you pour into her, it will spill through the cracks of her denial. Brother, love isn't therapy. It's a partnership. And if she refuses to do the inner work, she'll use your love as a crutch, not a mirror. You deserve better than being someone's emotional punching bag. You deserve someone who says, "I was wrong," and means it. 4. She uses sex to control, not to connect. Have you ever mistaken intimacy for love? Really think about that. Was there ever a moment, in your deepest, most vulnerable state, where you believed that the way she touched you meant she understood you? That the passion, the closeness, the heat, it all had to be love? But what happened when the lights were off? Did she still see you? Or did it feel like the only time she reached for you was when she wanted something? Let me tell you a story, and maybe this one hits a little too close to home. There was a man named Rishi, a good man, a little broken like all of us, but real, and he fell in love with a woman named Zara. Zara was magnetic. She knew how to walk, how to speak, how to smile like a secret. And when she looked at Rishi, he felt like he was the center of the universe. Their physical chemistry was undeniable, explosive even. Every touch felt like fire. Every night together felt like a dream. And Rishi thought to himself, this is love. This must be love. But it didn't take long for the patterns to show. Whenever he upset her, even slightly, she pulled away. Suddenly, she was too tired, or she was going through something, or she'd scroll through her phone next to him in bed, cold and distant, until he apologized, until he gave in, and then just like that, she was warm again, soft again, intimate again. Rishi didn't realize it at first. But Zara wasn't using sex to connect. She was using it to control. It became a currency, a reward, a punishment. It was no longer about love. It was about leverage. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind." And if a woman reduces intimacy to a weapon, her mind is not focused on connection but on control. Let me ask you, brother, have you ever felt like you had to earn her touch? Have you ever felt like affection was dangled over your head, depending on how well you pleased her that week? If so, that's not love. That's manipulation wrapped in perfume. True intimacy isn't just about bodies. It's about souls. It's about being seen in your weakest moment and still being held close. It's about feeling safe, not judged. It's about sharing, not negotiating. A foolish woman turns love into a transaction. A wise woman gives freely. Because her love isn't tied to power, it's rooted in connection. If you've ever felt like love only came when you surrendered, maybe it wasn't love at all. 5. She mocks your dreams and belittles your purpose. Have you ever looked into the eyes of someone you loved, shared your wildest dream, and then felt the sting of laughter instead of support? Do you remember how that felt? That moment when your heart was wide open, vulnerable, honest, and instead of encouragement, you got sarcasm, rolled eyes, or worse, silence? Let me tell you a story. Maybe it's yours. Maybe it's one you've tried to forget. There was a guy named Dev, a regular guy with an extraordinary dream. He wanted to open his own business, a small cafe with books and art and music. Something real. Something that mattered. He shared that dream with the woman he loved, Annika. At first she smiled, but it was the kind of smile that hides a smirk. "A cafe?" she said. "Babe, be serious. You're not cut out for that. Just stick to your job. It's safer." Dev laughed it off, but deep inside, something cracked. A few weeks later, he brought it up again, talking about business plans and possible locations. This time, she didn't even look up from her phone. "You and your ideas," she said. "Always dreaming. Grow up." That night, Dev lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Not because he didn't believe in his dream anymore, but because the one person who was supposed to believe in him didn't. And that right there is how purpose dies in silence. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." But how can a man be great when the voice beside him constantly tells him he's small? Let me ask you, brother, have you ever stopped chasing a dream because you didn't believe in it? Did you lower your voice, hide your passion, shrink your vision, just to avoid another sarcastic comment? If yes, then you know what it's like to sleep beside someone who's supposed to be your peace, but ends up being your prison. You see, the foolish woman doesn't just mock your dreams, she mocks your essence. Not because your dreams are silly, but because your ambition threatens her comfort. She sees your purpose and feels insecure, because when you grow, she has to either grow with you or get left behind. And instead of rising, she drags you down. But a wise woman, she fans your flame. She looks into your eyes and says, I believe in you even when you don't believe in yourself. So here's what I'll leave you with. If your love is slowly turning your fire into ashes, it's not love, it's sabotage. Your purpose is sacred, your dreams matter, and the right woman will protect them like they're her own. 6. She's obsessed with attention, not connection. Have you ever been with someone who made you feel like you were competing with the entire world just to matter? You gave her time, you gave her love, you gave her every version of you, but no matter how much you poured in, it was never enough, because her eyes were always somewhere else. Her heart wasn't with you. It was with the likes, the comments, the attention. Let me tell you a story, one that might feel too close to your own. There was a man named Rohan, quiet, grounded, and full of passion. And there was Kiara, the woman he thought was his dream come true. She was stunning, not just physically but socially. She knew how to talk, how to charm, how to own every room. She was magnetic online. Every selfie got flooded with comments. Every story, carefully curated. Every dinner date, documented for the world. At first, Rohan admired her confidence. He thought, she's just expressive, just social. Nothing wrong with that. But then the cracks began to show. On their third date, she spent more time taking pictures of the food than talking to him. On their 1-month anniversary, she was more excited about the Instagram caption than the actual moment. And when Rohan opened up about his childhood, something deep, something raw, she nodded without listening and went right back to scrolling. Slowly, Rohan realized she wasn't connecting, she was performing. And brother, let me ask you, have you ever felt like you were just a character in someone else's show? Like you were part of her image, not her intimacy? Marcus Aurelius once said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. And a woman who thinks only in likes, validation, and public praise, she's not thinking about you. She's not thinking about us. She's thinking about eyes, everyone else's eyes. She's addicted to being seen, not to being understood. The tragedy? Rohan stayed. He tried harder. He dressed better. He planned elaborate dates. He even joined social media again just to show her off. But inside, he was shrinking. Because no matter how loud he screamed his love, her hunger for attention was louder. Brother, real love whispers in silence. It grows in private. It holds your hand under the table, not for the photo, but for the feeling. If she needs the world to see her every moment to feel valuable, she hasn't yet learned to see herself. So ask yourself, did she love you, or the way you looked next to her on camera? Did she crave connection, or just another follower, another fan? Because a wise woman will seek your soul, but a foolish one, she'll seek the spotlight. And when the lights go off, you'll be left in the dark, wondering if she ever saw you at all. 7. She never apologizes, never admits she's wrong. Have you ever loved someone so deeply, so patiently, that you kept forgiving even when she never asked for forgiveness? Think back. Do you remember a moment when you were hurt, genuinely hurt, and all you wanted was for her to just say, like, I'm sorry, not fix the world, not write a poem? Just those 2 words. I'm sorry. But instead, she turned it around. Somehow your pain became your fault. Your feelings became an overreaction. Let me tell you about Arav. He was strong in all the places men are expected to be strong. A job, a vision, a calm voice. But when it came to love, he had a soft heart. And he gave it fully to a woman named Mira. Mira was beautiful, not just in how she looked, but in how she carried herself. Confident, sharp, and magnetic. But that confidence, it had a sharp edge. Because whenever she messed up, she'd just pretend nothing happened. One night, Arav had cooked dinner for her, after a long day at work, only to find out she had already gone out with her friends and forgot to tell him. No call, no message, nothing. When he told her he felt hurt, she smirked. Oh, come on, don't be so dramatic, she said. No apology, not even a hint of regret. Another time she snapped at him in front of his friends, made a joke that cut too deep. Later that night, he waited, hoping she'd say something. Anything. Instead, she climbed into bed and said, You know I was just kidding, right? You're too sensitive. And just like that, his pain became his weakness. Marcus Aurelius once said, If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth. But a woman who never apologizes, she doesn't seek truth. She seeks power. Let me ask you, brother, have you ever sat in silence, apologizing in your head for things you didn't even do just to keep the peace? Have you ever stayed awake at night wondering why your hurt didn't matter? That's not love. That's emotional erosion, and it turns strong men into silent ones. A wise woman will own her mistakes, not because she's weak, but because she values the relationship more than her ego. But a foolish woman, she'll double down, she'll gaslight, she'll twist reality until you question yourself. If she can never say, "I'm sorry," she's not just refusing to admit fault, she's refusing to grow, and love without growth dies. So I ask you, did she love you? Or did she love always being right? If your heart's ever been stepped on by someone too proud to say two simple words, you already know the pain I'm talking about. The Stoic response, what should you do? So what do you do if you recognize these signs in someone you love, or worse, someone you're already tied to? Marcus Aurelius would say this: first, accept reality. Don't lie to yourself to keep the fantasy alive. You cannot love someone into wisdom. They must seek it themselves. Second, guard your soul. Love is sacred. Don't offer it to someone who weaponizes it against you. Third, become what you seek. Instead of chasing the wise woman, become the wise man. As Marcus wrote, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. In this case, the best protection is to be unlike the man who blindly chooses foolishness and calls it fate. This video isn't meant to attack women. It's a call for discernment, for awareness, and for a higher standard for both men and women. Because the truth is, many of us have been stupid at some point. The question is not where you've been, but where you're willing to go now. If you've seen yourself in these words, whether as the one who chooses foolishness or the one who lives it, then let this be your wake-up call. As Marcus Aurelius once urged, get up. Do what nature demands. Get up, shake off sleep. Do what you were created for. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.